Good morning, ladies.
Morning, Sarah.
Emma, how's your mother?
Baruch Hashem, it's not easy, you know?
Yeah.
Thank God. How are you guys doing?
We're good. Well, hopefully it's, well, I guess even with your mother, you probably want to keep her in longer than even if when they start opening things more.
Yeah, no, but she goes down to the circle.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, like once or twice a week, and that's become the center of activities for that block. For
okay, that's
amazing. Yeah. But no, it's, you know, thank God for the balcony.
Yeah.
And how's your dad?
He's good. He's in Florida, keeping to himself and his wife there. So, you know.
Yeah.
But not leaving much.
No. And Yuda's parents?
They're here. They're in Yerushalayim. I haven't seen them since they've been here. Eliyahu got engaged March 5th, so they came in for that. They were supposed to go home and come back Pesach, but thank God they never left. Much better here than there.
So much indeed. The baby's by you? The kids are with you or no?
Have been. They're actually leaving today, so because his Mishpach is starting up again. So.
Oh, good. No, it's not easy. No. In quite the period. It's just you and me. No one else is here yet.
No, Amy, I think, is here, and I see Ora.
I don't know why I haven't got the right screen. I haven't got the normal screen. I have a different screen.
What does it say? You can usually. I'm on an iPad, so I can usually switch to gallery view or active.
Yeah, no, I haven't got that yet. I seem to have. I don't know why. Oh yeah. I think because Rav Steinberg's not in the meeting yet. I think that's why.
Makes sense.
Hey, Amy.
Hi.
How are you doing? Thank you for the frying pans. That was great.
Listen, I had so many, you know, when you make Pesach for 2 instead of 10, it's,
yes.
I didn't need that many.
Amy, has your husband been here or away?
He's been away 8 weeks.
Oh my gosh. That's hard. I didn't realize that.
Very hard.
Any plans to come back or not so soon?
Well, first we need planes to fly.
There are some flights. There are some.
Not from Canada.
Oh, I hear that.
And there are no flights between Canada and the US at all now.
Right.
So it doesn't help him. And as long as there is quarantine on either side, there is no point in him coming.
Absolutely.
Right.
Because he needs to go back to be able to work. And if he can't work, then there's no point. I mean, he's a frontline worker, right? So he works in the hospital.
So he would certainly need to be quarantined here.
Yeah, there. Like it's just way too complicated. So right now, his advantage is he lives with my daughter. So he's with the grandkids when he's not working, when he's supposed to be here, and she's working from home. So it's that they all win that way.
That's good.
Yes.
So it's not easy.
No, very much not. Very much not. It's a whole different world, I think. I mean, I don't know what's going to come of us.
Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, like Yehuda's whole travel schedule is going to be different. Rav Steinberg.
Yeah.
Hi, good morning.
Morning, Rav Steinberg.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, nice hearing everyone. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I hear that the government is allowing a little bit more going back to a little bit normalcy.
Seems to be.
Yeah.
My little one went to school yesterday and today. What about?
Nice. Yeah, also, right. Our little one also. Yeah. Yeah, they couldn't wait. At least Chadia really wanted to go. So. Yeah, nice.
What do? They're going 3 days a week?
No, every day, but they're making, at least where I am, they're every day, but they split the classes. You know, they have all the classrooms of the older grades because only up to 3rd grade. So
Right.
he's normally a class of 20. They've split them into 2. And not everyone. So yesterday he learned with 6 other kids, which is a machaya. It's great.
Well,
Yeah,
that's what I was
right.
going to say. Well, they're going to see that small classes are a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the kids may well learn more in
Sure.
the less hours in the small class.
Uh-huh.
Who knows?
That's true, but the school accommodates small classes when the school is full. There
They
is,
will
they have
work.
yeah. Anyway, we'll see what happens. I wrote to Rav Hanan yesterday. An email asking if there's any possibility to maybe start going back to use the Beis Medrash, because we're 14 men all together in the Kollel. 14 can easily spread in a building in general in a way that we're 2 meters apart and we'll be wearing masks. Same as many people are going back to work under such circumstances. But after consulting with Dan and Whitefield, they decided not yet. We're still learning at home. But hopefully it'll come soon also. We'll be able to
it'll
go
start
back to
soon.
Beis Medrash. Yeah. Yep. I wonder how the world will change in general if we hopefully all go back to our complete routine. Hopefully people will take some lesson out of all this. I don't know exactly what. I don't know how things will change, but we'll see how things develop. Okay. We start excitingly the book of Halichot Brachot of Rav Ophir Malka, because we finished going through the introductory chapter of Zot HaBracha about brachos in general and how we prepare ourselves to say the bracha and the kavanah and all that. We'll now begin the long course of Halichot Brachot as we go into very, very specific details in for each and every food, for each and every bracha, for each and every situation. Very, very exciting. But beforehand, also very exciting news that came to me a few days ago. There's a rabbi, he's a chaplain, he's a military rabbi who used to study in Shalabim Hesder Yeshiva. His name is Rav Moshe Chazan. He came up with an invention, actually. It's going to be a patent that he's going to write as a patent. He invented, or he came up with the idea, and he had someone build a structure for him, a Shabbos umbrella. A Shabbos umbrella. He's going to call it Magen Shabbat. And the way it works, he sent a whole article to explain it with illustrated drawings of how it will look. The way it works is very, very, very simple. I'm surprised people didn't think of it before, till now. Very simple halachic technique and also quite simple to create. The idea is that if we know that okay. Tova wrote that's going to lead to mixed dancing. Okay. Far-fetched. A little bit far-fetched. Okay. No, I see your point. That we got so used to the fact that we don't use umbrellas on Shabbat and people think it's a Issa D'Oraita. We've discussed in this year a while back that it's far, far, far from being a D'Oraita prohibition even when we use a normal umbrella. It's barely a prohibition to begin with. It's only Gedra Gadrug Dolei Adorot that it used to be more problematic the way the umbrella used to be made, used to open and close. You had to actually connect different pieces one to another. And then the Noda Yehuda 300 years ago came out with the Tshuva of Orach Chaim Siman Lamed telling us not to use the umbrella on Shabbat. But since then we got more sophisticated. And really, there shouldn't be a reason not to use it, but still, because all the generations before they got used to not using it, so people will say, the rabbis are just making up things. And if this is allowed, even though we were taught it wasn't, then maybe other things should also be allowed. That's the slippery slope. So we kept it prohibited. But we definitely have a halachic concept called Mosifim al ohel arai b'Shabbat. Meaning, if we have already one tefach, which is 8 centimeters, or you want to go to the max, 10 centimeters, according to the Chazon Ish, 10 centimeters width of a already spread out roof of any type. It could be a table, it could be on a stroller, the roof of a stroller overhead, if it's slightly open to a tefach, other such situations. The moment it was open from before Shabbat, 1 tefach wide, 8 to 10 centimeters wide, then definitely there's no question you can continue opening it or spreading it beyond the tefach. That's a complete acceptable halachic concept. Mosifim al ohel arai. If it's a temporary structure that was already open before Shabbat, 1 tefach, he can add to it as much as he wants. That's why, if you recall, we said that kids should not be building a tent, making a tent by spreading a sheet over 4 chairs to make a make-believe tent, sort of a structure of a tent, to play underneath it, because that's creating an oil on Shabbat, even though it's completely temporary. But even ohel arai, you mustn't build on Shabbat. But if they spread the sheet onwards from the table, they put something heavy that holds down the sheet from the table all the way to another end, which is over a chair, that's perfectly fine. That's allowed, because the table was already spread out at least 1 tefach, much more than that, much more than 10 centimeters. And since it was already spread out before Shabbat, then to continue the roof of it, you're allowed in a temporary structure. So this Rav Chazan came up with this idea that a Shabbos umbrella will actually have 2 roofs to it, 2 overheads. One circular, quite small one, which would be of hard plastic, which would be permanently open no matter what. That would be over or under the second roof of the umbrella, the second overhead, which will be the actual umbrella, which you pop up, open, and close. The permanent one will be of a tefach width. So you have permanently a tefach of a roof made to stay no matter what. Even when you fold the umbrella totally, you will still have 8 centimeters, 10 centimeters. I assume will take the more stringent opinion to make sure it's good according to all. And even the Bnei Brak Jews could be able to buy his umbrella and use it on Shabbat. So 10 centimeters wide will stay permanently open no matter what. And then the actual umbrella will open and close as normal, and as we do in our umbrellas. So that means that we're always spreading the second roof, the proper roof that we're using to protect ourselves, we're spreading it beyond the already existing tefach of a roof that's there permanently. It's a very simple idea. It should work halachically. I don't see any reason why not. Question is, will poskim have the guts to allow this? Because after all, as Tova hinted, after all, people may not understand the difference and may say, if we're using this umbrella, let's use a regular. If you're using the regular, then everything is make-believe. They told us all the time they were not allowed, and here we're allowing it. Are we still concerned with the slippery slope issue? Or if it's an obvious difference between this umbrella and others, and by the way, he also commented that he would write in big letters, Magen Shabbat, he would say on it, so that people will see very obviously that it's a Shabbos umbrella. And the truth of the matter is, we have all kinds of things. The Shabbos clock, also the timer that in the very beginning Moshe Feinstein refused to allow because he felt it's going to lead to violation of Shabbat, but everyone got used to it. Everyone got used to that there's a Shabbos clock, there's a timer, and things go on and off with the timer. True, you try to restrict to as little electrical appliances to use a Shabbos timer for, not to completely open and close, have everything open on Shabbat and close on Shabbat, even a TV or radio. We don't allow that. But in general, all of us use timers and some other special items that were created specifically for Shabbat use, and everyone realizes that they are made to ensure that you're not violating Shabbat, and yet they are permissible and different than the norm. So here also, if it's obviously made different than a regular umbrella, it shouldn't be a problem. He already got askamos. I saw in the article, he got askamos from the leading Dati Leumi rabbis, going through Rav Dov Lior, Rav, who was there, Tzfana Drori, I think Rav Melamed, many of the leading Dati Leumi rabbis. I didn't see yet any Haredi leading posek signed on accepting this, but we'll see if it becomes more and more in use. So maybe also accepted by all in the end. There may be also a little bit of slight political problem here, because this Rav Chazan, as I said before, is of the Dati Leumi world. He studied in Shalabim, and now he's in the army. So it may rub them the wrong way that it came from a Dati Leumi person. Although that should be completely irrelevant to our pure understanding of Torah and leading to Piskei Halacha. That should not be taken into consideration whatsoever. And I'm hoping that with at least this may be the result, one of the great results of the Corona situation, that plague, and that people now hopefully will rightfully ignore these political differences, which are completely out of the question to even consider as anything. And hopefully we now understand, we have the priorities set more correctly. We understand what's important, what isn't important, and sometimes even harmful, hazardous to go in those directions of political differences and views. Consider that as part of our halachic discussion. Anyway, whether yes or not, time will tell, but it seems like a helpful, useful, correct invention, and we hope it will spread. And by the way, he mentions in the article that the reason he got involved with all this was also in order to help people go to shul more easily when it's pouring rain. Sometimes people are afraid from going to shul, so they miss out on tefillah b'tzibur. People going to a shir on Shabbat, they may miss out because of the rain. But his main objective to go through all this and to discover and to find and to invent this umbrella, Shabbos umbrella, was mainly for women having to go to the mikveh. He says that he himself encountered several cases, and he heard from friends of his, different rabbis around the country, that there are quite a few women who are afraid from going to the mikveh if it's raining, because they don't want to get wet. They don't want to get soaking wet, so they miss out on going to the mikveh just because of the rain, and that's very, very bad. So he said that was his main motivation. That gave him the motivation to invent this. Hopefully, it should catch, and we'll all enjoy such an umbrella. And as I said before, since the normal umbrella already should be really permitted, if it hadn't been for that reason of not changing what we customarily thought that it was wrong to use. So, but besides that, it should have been permissible. So definitely, if you make this type of change, the shinui, this difference between a Shabbos umbrella and a weekday umbrella, that should serve the purpose and should be allowed. So I hope it's really accepted, and I hope he, for his sake, I hope he does good business also. Why not? Let him enjoy his invention. Okay, so that's for that. We will now begin the book. The way the book is structured is in the sequence of the Shulchan Aruch. He discusses siman by siman by siman, going through every siman of Hilchos Brachos, as of siman Reish Bet 202 in Orach Chaim. That's where the Shulchan Aruch begins Hilchos Brachos of Birkas HaNe'enim mainly. Later on, we'll be getting to, much later on, we'll be getting to Birkas HaShevach, upon seeing all kinds of things that are special to say a bracha over it. By the way, just as mentioning this, I heard Motzei Shabbat, a shir by Rav Yitzchak Yosef, the Sephardic chief rabbi, the son of Rav Ovadia. Obviously, as I was washing dishes, as usual, I had time to hear some other shiurim. So he spoke about slowly going back to normal life, pulling out of the corona situation. He spoke about all kinds of questions, very interesting questions that will come up as we go back to normal life. So one of them was, since I just mentioned Birkas HaShevach, one of them was that if we meet a very close friend of ours that we hadn't had a chance to see them 30 days, a month, more than 30 days, do we say Birkas She'echiyanu, B'Shem Malchus, Baruch Atah, and with Shem Hashem, Adnut, Elokeinu Melech HaOlam, She'echiyanu V'Kimenu V'Genu L'Zman Hazeh. That's the bracha that's meant to be said when you bump into or meet a very, very good friend that you hadn't seen within 30 days. That should be always, not unrelated to the corona situation. But especially now that we really haven't seen each other for so long, and some of us are good friends with others, so we're really excited. We will be overly excited meeting each other once again face to face. So we'll be saying She'echiyanu. His psak was very, very clear. Yes, the answer is yes, providing it's a good friend, not every person you bump into that you hadn't seen in a few months, but so I was seeing the same question is coming up now twice. How about Zoom? Seeing them on Zoom. So truth of the matter is, he did discuss that. He did say that it doesn't matter if you had conversations over the phone. It doesn't matter if you heard of them that they're okay, they're fine, and you heard news about them. It doesn't matter. Still, it's considered face-to-face more exciting than all these other ways. But he didn't discuss Zoom. I think the reason he didn't say anything about Zoom is because in the Haredi world, they're not Zooming too much because they don't have computers, or even if they do, they don't connect them to the internet. So they're not using this tool so much. Unfortunately for them, because it's an amazing tool to spread Torah with and other things also. But since it's not so frequently used in the Haredi world, so he didn't even discuss the Zoom. It's a good question. But before I answer the question about Zoom, I have to say that I was surprised with his psak. Meaning, I would say like this: for Sephardim, and he's a Sephardic rabbi, of course. For Sephardim, it's much, much more probable that they should be saying She'echiyanu. For Ashkenazim, it could be also the difference. Obviously, I'm basing the difference on a Ramah versus Shulchan Aruch, but it also could be the difference in generally in our personalities, that by Sephardim there's so much warmth. Warmth, seeing each other and hugging and kissing each other all the time, all year round. So Yeah, you see that Amy just wrote that Rav Rimon also wrote a tshuva about this. I haven't seen it. If you know what his final psak was, I would very interested to know what Rav Rimon holds about this. Anyway, in the Ramah, it says that many of these brachos that we say upon seeing extraordinary, special things, many of them, it's not customary to say anymore. Halachically, we should be saying these brachos, but it's not the custom so much. It's not so definite what in this many of these brachos. Does it include seeing a best friend of yours after 30 days? Does it include that as a bracha that we no longer customarily say, or is that not part of that category? Not so sure, but in any case, it's well known. Again, this is very much Ashkenazic type fear, that it's well known that some poskim say not to say this bracha because we don't know what the amount of simcha that you're supposed to have in order to say the bracha, because it's obvious. It's obviously based on the fact that when you see a friend you haven't seen for so long, for over 30 days, and it's a good friend of yours, you're overly joyous. You're very, very happy. And for being very, very happy, you say Shechianu. But how much does that mean? How much happiness needs to be? What's the shir? There's shir Chazon Ish, there's shir Rachnai. I'm just joking, yeah? But the fact, it's very Ashkenazic to have to evaluate everything exact, or to measurement, and to measure everything perfectly. So the Sfardim are more loose about that. You're happy, say the bracha. The Ashkenazim, no, I'm not sure, is this the right thing or not? So I see another one referring to Rav Rimon's answer. Yeah, it says here's his last decision paragraph, but Malka, you didn't. I don't see the final psak of Rav Rimon. Maybe you can tell us, read it to us, maybe. Whatever, we'll see. I'll try to check what it says in his tshuva when I go online later. Okay, so I'm saying in general, the Ashkenazim are less accustomed to saying this bracha in general. So definitely, if there was Zoom, so I would say for Ashkenazim at least, it makes it even more problematic to say the bracha. More problematic, because then you've seen the person in some way. It's not completely direct face-to-face sight, but it's close to it. So, and since in general, this bracha isn't so much rehearsed by Ashkenazim, I would say that by Zoom it makes it even more problematic. Also, I felt a totally different reason not to be saying this bracha. It just came to my mind. I haven't seen any post saying when we would see someone after more than 30 days. I don't recall too many times in my life that people have said Shechianu with Shem Malchus, although it did occur to me personally, one or two people who had seen me and said the bracha with Shem Malchus, which it's a very amazing feeling, even I would say a little bit embarrassing, because you feel, who am I that someone should say a bracha over me? But I guess some people feel very emotional, very excited, and want to say the bracha. Anyhow, I thought to myself, imagine if we come to shul or we're invited over to someone and we see a good friend of ours that we haven't seen for so long, but together amongst others that are there, that we also are friendly with, but not best friends, not such good friends. Imagine how painful and embarrassing it may be that when you see this in this person, you say the bracha, and people are going to hear it. You can't whisper it to their ear. It doesn't work. So people standing around will hear you say the bracha towards one of the people there because you're more fond, more friendly, more happy to see them, and not over the others. In the same room, in the same proximity, they see that difference. Imagine how embarrassing that may be, how this may cause breaks in friendships between people. This may even cause type of distancing where we don't want any more distancing. We've done distancing enough, social distancing. This will cause very deep problems, social problems between one another. So it's just a thought that came up to my mind, why not to say this bracha? If no one's around, and it's only you and that person that you just met, a very close friend, then fine, then this issue doesn't come up. We go back to the first issue I spoke about. But if someone's there and doesn't get that bracha, they'll feel very, very hurt. And who knows what will that do deep inside that their soul, their feeling. It may really break friendships. So, by the way, there is such a consideration, not exactly in that direction, but in the general idea, there is such a direction in brachos that we find, and with this, I'll stop discussing this point and we'll go to the brachos. But one last point that we find in a bracha that we refrain from saying just in order not to embarrass people. What is that? In what case do we do that? Do we refrain from saying a bracha not to embarrass people? By a chuppah. At a chuppah, thank you, Amy, for sending me the link to the article. I have to read it after Shir to see what he finalizes on the Zoom for say Sheikh Yalu. Anyhow, by a chassan and kala under chuppah, the first bracha that we say, that the rabbi usually says, Birkata Kiddushin, Baruch atah Hashem Melech haolam asher kiddshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al ha'arayot v'asar lanu et ha'arusot v'yitir lanu et hatzorot v'nechma b'nishim Baruch atah Hashem v'kadosh b'yisrael v'ba'al kiddushin. That bracha should really be said by the chassan. This is a bracha over not really getting married, over doing kiddushin. It's not yet the suin, but it's a bracha over the kiddushin. Before he hands over the ring to the kala and says, yet you're supposed to say the bracha. It's a mitzvah to marry. And one of the two stages of marriage is kiddushin. So if you're doing a mitzvah, you're supposed to say a bracha over it before you do it. So why is it that the rabbi says the bracha instead of the chassan? It's almost as if a person put on tefillin would not be saying his own bracha, rather someone else will say the bracha out loud. He will say amen and then put on his tefillin. Why do it that way? So, unfortunately, sometimes the person is so sick, so incapable of saying a bracha that he really needs someone else to say the bracha out loud to be motzi him, and he says amen, and that's fine. That's called shomea keoneh, as long as it's a birkas of mitzvos. So, since every Jew is obligated to wear tefillin, every man, so the bracha is obligatory, and therefore another Jew can be motzi, even if he's not wearing his own pair of tefillin, he can be motzi someone else on the bracha, serving as a birkas mitzvos for the person who is now about to put on tefillin, or someone will put on the tefillin for him if he's in such terrible agony and pain or weak that he can't even say his own bracha, that he definitely won't be able to lay his own tefillin. So someone is helping him out, so that person can say the bracha out loud to be motzi the person who's putting on the tefillin. So that's definitely acceptable. By a chassan, we do the same. The rabbi is really saying the bracha as shomea, as to be motzi the chassan. The chassan is shomea ke'oneh, and it's as if he said it on his own. Why do it in such an awkward way? Why not ask the chassan to say the bracha himself over the act of kiddushin? The answer is, this is the answer given by all poskim. The only reason that this is done, and this is customary in all types of eidot of any type. I haven't seen ever that the chassan himself says the bracha. What's the reason? Since there will be chatanim under the chuppah that will not be able to say the bracha on their own, even if we say to them word for word, some won't be able to do it. They're too terrified. They don't know how to express, how to say the Hebrew words at all, even if we direct them. There definitely will be some chatanim that will not be able to do it. So just in order not to embarrass those few chatanim that will not be able to say the bracha on their own, we decided that all chatanim do not say the bracha on their own, even those who are great Talmidei Chachamim. Let's say if a rabbi of a high caliber, Lo Aleinu, was widowed, and he marries second marriage, and he knows the whole Torah Kula, and he's been saying brachos his entire life, and he knows exactly what the bracha is all by heart, he will still not say the bracha on his own. It will still be the rabbi officiating at his wedding that will say the bracha for him, and he will be shomea ke'oneh and be yotze by the rabbi officiating the chassan. So just in order not to embarrass one or two or seldom cases of chassanim, we don't. So we don't say the bracha on our own. Sarah is asking, so how could they say Ared Mekudeshetli if they're not embarrassed to say that? Why should they be embarrassed to say a bracha? First of all, it's much longer. The bracha is much longer. It's a very long bracha. Had it been just a short bracha like that may have been more possible to have all chatanim say. But since it's just a long bracha, maybe more intimidating, maybe to the rough, some of those words are complicated to say. I don't know exactly what the reason is. Also, very simple difference. What we can do to help them out, we do. What we can't help them out, then they're forced to be brave and say it on their own. Even if it's word for word, repeating what the rabbi tells it to say, that's okay. But there's no choice. Although, the truth of the matter is, the rabbi could have even said Ared Mekudeshet, but not li. Chas v'chalila. He'll have many, many wives. He can only say Ared Mekudeshet leRuven. Betabat zo, that can be done. There's an idea of shaliach kiddushin. You can send a messenger, an agent, to be mekadesh your wife for you, and the person says Ared Mekudeshet leRuven betabat zo. So that even that could have been done, but that's very, very weird. So we don't go all the way there. And we have each chassan say it on his own. Whether it's all together himself, whether it's reading from a text, whether it's repeating the rabbi, whatever it may be, however it may be, we have them to say it on their own. The bracha, we spare them from saying the bracha for those who are comfortable, and because of that, due to that, no one says the bracha on his own, not to differentiate between those who can and those who can't, so we keep it that way. So the same idea, I thought to myself, in order not to embarrass other people around, to say Shechianu over a good friend you haven't seen over 30 days would be very embarrassing to others there that you don't appreciate the friendship with them as much. And that may hurt their feelings, and who knows what will happen. So I think that's a good enough reason not to say Shechianu when we get to meet each other once again after all these long days of not seeing each other. regardless of the fact does Zoom count as seeing each other or not, regardless of that, and regardless of the fact that this bracha is not customary in general to say, because we're not sure what the amount of simcha is in order to allow saying the bracha, still, it's, besides all of those points, this point I think is very crucial to think about, and therefore not to say Shechianu when we meet each other once again in person. Okay, so we'll begin the book of Halichot Brachot right now. And as I said, very, very precise details to go through all of Hilchos Brachos, Mizrat Hashem, long course of halachic discussions, and during this very important rabbinic mitzvah as properly as possible. Okay, so the first Siman Reish Bet, as I said, it goes by the sequence of the Shulchan Aruch, 202, discusses Birkat Perot HaIlan, brachas over fruit. We know that on fruit, we say Borei Priya Etz, and the first question is, why do we say Borei Priya Etz? Why is there a specific bracha for fruits? After all fruits grow from the ground. Why isn't it enough just to say Borei Priya Adama on everything that rose from the ground? Why specifically, why have a specific bracha over fruit, unlike vegetables that grow directly from the ground? After all this produce comes from the ground. Why not make life easier for us? Just say Borei Priya Adama over anything, any produce that grows from the ground in any way. The answer is, a bracha is there to bless Hashem over what He provides for us. The more specific we get to show our appreciation for something that's even more special within the produce within the plentiness that He supplies for us, the more specific we get, the more we show our appreciation. Same as in everything. If you compliment someone and you go into details, the compliment is much nicer than a very general compliment, right? If you say to someone, wow, you have a beautiful home, that's a nice compliment. But if you say, wow, I love your couch, or wow, the dining table is so beautiful, things like that, so the person feels even more complimented, more appreciative, that you go into details and you see more of the beauty, or of the sophistication, or of the setup, whatever it may be that you're complimenting someone for. The more you're specific, the more the compliment is real. The more a compliment that touches the person more. So same with Hashem. The more specific we get to compliment Him for specifically something that He created in a more amazing way, then it's Hashem, quote unquote, is more appreciative to our compliment and thankfulness. So, of course, a fruit that grows on a tree, there's more to appreciate, because first of all, the tree on its own, a tree, is something more amazing than something that grows directly from the ground. What has to go into the creation of a tree is much more than went into creation of a shrub, something even underground like a potato that grew from a seed. That's much less sophisticated than a tree. So the sophistication and the height and the produce of a tree, we're much more appreciative, showing our appreciation by specifically blessing Hashem and thanking Him for Borei Priya Etz, than if we would generally say Borei Priya Adama, everything grows from the ground. That's true, but we want to show our specific appreciation. Besides that, many times, it's not always true, but many times fruits are more delicious than vegetables. Vegetables we eat mainly for health reasons. It's healthy to eat a salad. It's healthy to have a tomato or a cucumber once a day. But it's not so much for appreciating the good taste. It also is tasty to some people, but definitely fruits are tastier. Fruits are like more, they're sweeter, first of all, most of the time, and they're more like a dessert for us. Many times they're served as a dessert, really, like a fruit salad. But so this is another reason to show our appreciation. It's like the fruits are something that Hashem gave us extra, not only for our just to serve as health foods. It's also tasty and delicious. So it's like motarot. It's like beyond what we need. It's beyond our needs. It's something even to show Hashem is showing us that He likes us, that He loves us, and He gives us something extra delicious, extra tasty and sweet. So all that requires special appreciation. That's how we have a special bracha for ha'etz versus ha'adama. Okay, by the way, if we bear this in mind, we can't think of all of this put together when we say Borei Pri Etz, but if we bear in mind just the mere fact, before we eat any fruit, that when we say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam borei pri ha'etz, just bear in mind the fact that you're specifying the fact that this grew from a tree, unlike vegetables or other things that grew from the ground. Bear in mind that you're appreciating all that we just said now. That you're more specific by saying ha'etz than just in general ha'adama because of what we said now, to thank Hashem for Borei Pri ha'etz. So have in mind, as you're saying this bracha Borei Pri ha'etz, that you're appreciating more so than just it merely being growing from the ground. And that makes the bracha, again, more meaningful, more filled with kavana, more enjoyable for us to say even. You know, many times a person gains by complimenting someone else. They feel good, they feel accomplished. So here also, we will gain more by having in mind and thinking of the special appreciation we have towards Hashem for creating trees and fruits that grow from trees for us. We will feel much better. We will feel much more appreciative when we bear this in mind as we say the bracha. Okay. Now we'll start with specifics. So the first brachas within fruits that we say that the Shulchan Aruch discusses in this siman of Reish Bet is the bracha over wine, grape juice, and eaten as a fruit, as a grape itself. So, as we go on more specifically, like we said now, the more we're specific about our bracha, the more we show appreciation, and the more complimentary it is to a person that we go into specifics, into details, where we thank them or appreciate what they have. So more specific even than Borei Pri ha'etz is Borei Pri ha'gafen. When we say Borei Pri ha'gafen over wine or grape juice, we're even more specific, because wine and grape juice, again, is also a produce of the ground and of a tree. And yet we don't say Borei Pri ha'etz over wine and grape juice. We don't say shehakol, which is the bracha that we normally say over juice that comes out of a fruit. Here we say Borei Pri ha'gafen, again, to appreciate specifically this tremendous gift from Hashem of wine and grape juice, because they're so special, they're so unique that we give them a special bracha. And this same is true for both grape juice and wine. Grape juice can develop into wine had we let it sauce
Ferment.
Ferment, thank you. Ferment, right. So and we let it ferment, it would have reached the point of, it would have gotten to become wine. So just the potential of being wine already makes it an important beverage. And we say by Pragafen equally for grape juice and wine. What happens when a person takes a grape? Now, of course, a grape itself, as a grape, we say Borei Pri Ha'etz. Therefore, we don't say Borei Pri Hagafen, because Borei Pri Hagafen is only for the liquid that is squeezed out of the grapes. Now that it's eaten as a grape, we say Borei Pri Ha'etz. It has a special level to it because it's one of the 7 special species of that Eretz Israel was blessed with, Shivat HaMinim. But that has nothing to do with the bracha before eating. Before eating, the bracha is the same as all other fruits, Borei Pri Ha'etz. The after bracha is Al Ha'etz, Al Pri Ha'etz, Ve'at Nubat HaSadeh, and not only Borei Nefashos. But what happens if a person squeezes the grape into his mouth? By squeezing, the person gets the juice out of the grape, which is really grape juice. So would you say Borei Pri Hagafen? If you're just doing it immediately into your mouth, you're holding the grape close to your mouth, squeezing it, allowing the juice to come out into your mouth, drinking it that way, do you say Borei Pri Hagafen? So there is a three ways to do so, and each one requires a different bracha. So we'll start from the most internal. If you place the grape whole, as is, or cut in half, it doesn't matter, in your mouth, and want to suck it while it's in your mouth, you want to suck out the juice of the grape in your mouth, that is definitely Borei Pri Ha'etz. Because it's a form of chewing the grape. Just instead of chewing the entire grape with your teeth, you're sucking on it inside your mouth. Usually it works better if you cut it in half, place one half into your mouth and start sucking. That, by the way, you be very careful because it could be dangerous. It could suck down whole in your throat and chas v'chalila, suffocation and so forth. Very, very dangerous, of course, for little kids or babies. To cut it up into small pieces and not allow them to have any somewhat large size of a grape could easily go down their throat. Terrible. Anyway, so again, placing it into your mouth and sucking into your mouth, Borei Pri Ha'etz. Obviously, you say the bracha before you put it into your mouth, not while it's in your mouth. Before you started sucking, then you say the bracha. We said in the introductory chapter of Zot HaBracha, we said that our mouth has to be clear and clean of anything before, as we say a bracha. Yima lefi tehilatecha, says David HaMelech. My mouth has to be filled with your glory, meaning empty of anything else as we say a bracha or while davening. We shouldn't be having anything in our mouth while praising Hashem, saying a bracha or davening. Learning Torah would be okay. If you learn Torah while eating, that's okay. But praising Hashem, which is davening and saying brachos, has to be completely empty mouth, including no gum. No gum in our mouth as we're praying or saying bracha over something else. We should be having gum in our mouth. Okay, so before we put the grape into our mouth and start sucking on it, we say Borei Pri Ha'etz, and then into our mouth and suck on it as much as you'd like to get at the juice. What happens if you place, again, half a grape? And this is true, by the way, not only for grapes. In the meantime, this situation is true also for any fruit. If you slice an orange take half a pelach, half a slice of an orange, put it in your mouth and suck on it, it's borei priya etz. Even though had you squeezed orange juice from an orange into a cup and drank it that way, it would be shehakol. Because we said before, any squeezed juice, fruit juice, besides grape, is shehakol. So had we squeezed it into a cup and drank it as orange juice, shehakol. Now that we're placing a piece of an orange in our mouth and sucking on it in our mouth, borei priya etz, because we're eating the actual orange now. Even if we may throw out the solid parts and we just sucked on it to get the juice out of it, but since it was in our mouth as a piece of an orange and sucking at it, that's like chewing. And chewing is eating. It's as if you're eating the orange, and therefore it's borei priya etz, even if you just get the juice out of it. So that's true for all types of fruits. Although, no, okay, that's definite. That's definite. We just said that was definite. Now we'll go to the next situation. The next situation is, let's say you take, again, you split a piece of an orange in half, and you want to suck it, or again, take the grape, split it in half. You want to suck it as you're holding it outside of your mouth. You're not putting the piece in your mouth and sucking on it. You're sucking on it while you're holding on to the piece, to the solid piece close to your mouth and sucking on it. Does that make a difference? So here, it's a machloket. Some poskim hold that it's still borei priya etz, because still you have direct contact between the piece of the orange and the juice that comes out, and your mouth, in your mouth. The juice comes out as you're directly connecting your mouth to the piece. So it's still considered eating the orange. Okay? I would say it a little differently. The juice that comes out really is invisible. We don't see that juice. It didn't come out in the air that you see it flowing out. Rather, it came out directly in your mouth. So a person that observes you doing so, all he sees is a person who's really eating an orange, because he sees the piece in your mouth, in your hand, directly, very close to your mouth, touching directly your mouth. He doesn't see any juice coming out. The juice comes out in your mouth. So that's considered as if you're eating the orange. And therefore, some poskim say that would be borei priya etz, as if you're chewing the orange. But other poskim say that it's shehakol, because after all, you're not placing the orange itself in your mouth. All you're getting out of it is the juice. What does it matter if that juice came out in the air, visible to people into a cup, or came out directly into your mouth? What's the difference? After all, you're just drinking the juice of the orange without placing the orange itself in your mouth at all, at any time. So some say it's shehakol, some say it's ha'etz. By the way, there's a major difference besides the bracha itself between considering it a food and eating, and then it's borei priya etz, or considering it a drink and drinking, and then it's shehakol. There's another major difference besides the bracha itself. The other difference is how much quantity-wise and how long time-wise do you have to eat of that food or beverage in order to require bracha achrona. Major difference. When we talk about a solid food, any solid food that we chew and swallow, the amount necessary, minimum amount for a bracha achrona is kazait. Kazait is like a matchbox filled of that type of food. In general, we say it's 27 milliliters and not gram. We don't go by weight for kazait, we go by volume. The volume of 27 milliliters of water, that amount in solid would be kazait. So if you eat such an amount within 4 minutes, that's called kedei achilat pras. Within 4 minutes, only then do you say bracha achrona. If you've eaten less than that, or if you've eaten much more than that, but slowly, you took a bite, waited a minute or two, another bite, minute or two, another bite, and in the end, the entire kazait was eaten in 7-8 minutes. That's not considered. That doesn't require bracha achrona. You don't say any bracha achrona. If you eat less than a kazait or more than a kazait within more than 4 minutes, no bracha achrona required whatsoever. Not bracha nefashos, not ala eitz, not ala michya, not bracha semazo, nothing. Gefen. Okay, so that's for eating. Drinking, any beverage, any drink that you gulp down, the amount is revi'it. As long as you drink revi'it, below logmav, which is less, is questionable whether you say bracha achrona or not. Better not to drink such an amount. The amount is revi'it, which is 81 milliliters of liquid, which is half of a average disposable plastic cup. That amount within 3 gulps. You have to consecutively drink it down within 3 gulps. If you've drunk in half a cup, that requires brei nefashos, bracha achrona. Or alagef for wine, alagef for piragef, wine or grape juice. Alagef for piragef or brei nefashos. Those are the only 2 options for drinks, for a bracha achrona over a drink. So the amount is different and the timing is different. You don't have those 4 minutes like you have for eating. It has to be gulped down in 3 gulps, which is very quick. If you take a sip and stop for a few seconds, another sip, stop for a few seconds, another sip, you do not say bracha achrona. Like if you're drinking tea, so you take a sip and you let go for a minute or 2, then another sip, you will not say bracha achrona. And if you're drinking with a straw, you can't gulp down half a cup's worth in 3 gulps because the straw comes out in little amounts. So you could be drinking consecutively half a cup, but it will take you many more gulps than 3 to get it in because the straw only allows a certain amount to come into your mouth. So you will not be saying bracha achrona, even if you finish an entire cup of a juice or of Coke or whatever it is. You finish the entire cup, you will not be saying brei nefashos if you drank in small sips like a straw allows you. So going back to sucking on a fruit while it's close to your mouth but not in your mouth, you haven't put the piece of fruit in your mouth, rather it's close to your mouth and you're sucking on it, if it's considered eating. So firstly, it's borei priya etz, and secondly, to require bracha achrona, you would need to eat the amount of a kazait. Here, you're not eating really, you're sucking. So you would need to suck out juice of the amount of a kazait, of the volume of 27 milliliters, not 81. And you've got 4 minutes to do so, up to 4 minutes to do so. If you have all that, you say bracha achrona, brei nefashos. Whereas if we consider it drinking, because you're sucking and getting out only the juice, so it's shehakol. And not only is it shehakol, you would have to suck out within 3 gulps 81 milliliters, which is impossible. No one can suck out in three times consecutively, one after the other immediately, 81 milliliters of juice. No matter how powerful your lungs are, suck in juice from an orange, it won't come out 81 milliliters in 3 consecutive immediate times. So therefore, no bracha achrona required for those who hold that this situation is drinking and not eating, and therefore you say shehakol, no bracha achrona required. Even if you suck out the entire orange, all the juice, you will not be saying bracha achrona. So it's a major difference from 2 points of view. A, which bracha should we say first bracha, ha'etz or shehakol, and B, the after bracha, bracha achrona, which should be saying, and how much should we eat or drink and how long. So since it's a dispute whether this is all eating or drinking, ha'etz or shehakol, what do we finally do in this case? So the final decision of majority of the poskim is that this is a form of drinking. It doesn't matter that the juice isn't visible. The fact that you're sucking out only the juice and you haven't placed the fruit itself in your mouth makes it a drink. And the moment it's considered drinking, then we say shehakol over such a thing. We don't say ha'etz. And we do not say a bracha achrona whatsoever, no matter what, because we'll never be able to suck out 81 milliliters in 3 gulps, in 3 suckings. So this is the final psak for sucking when it's not in your mouth. Again, if you place the piece of orange in your mouth and you only suck out the juice, that's definitely considered eating, because then the chunk, the piece is in your mouth. Doesn't matter if you're chewing or sucking, that's considered eating. And that is definitely Borei Pri Ha'etz. And if you've sucked out the amount of a kazait, 27 milliliters, within 4 minutes, you do say a bracha achrona of Borei Nefashos in such a case. The question here, does this assume, it's popped away, sorry. Does this assume they don't eat the remainder of the fruit afterwards? Correct. This is only true if you don't eat the remainder of the fruit afterwards. If you eat the remainder of the fruit afterwards, by the way, it's an excellent question. What happens if, let's say we decide and we should follow this psak, that we go by majority of the poskim, we say that this is shehakol. So you've sucked on the orange close to your mouth and you've said shehakol because you're just getting out the juice. At this moment, in this situation, if you're just sucking the juice, you do not say bracha achrona at all. But then what happens if you then want to eat the remainder of the fruit that's left over after sucking out the juice? Now you'll be chewing, placing the solid part, the piece of the orange, in your mouth and chewing it. That's definitely eating. What do you do then? You say a second bracha. Why? Because we finalized that for sucking, we say shehakol. Now that you're going to chew and eat the remainder of the fruit, that will be Borei Pri Ha'etz, because now you're eating a fruit. Borei Pri Ha'etz. And now if you're going to have a kazait within 4 minutes of the remainder of the fruit, you say Borei Nefashos, because you're eating. So you get to say 2 brachos in this case. Shehakol for sucking out the juice, and now no bracha achrona had been only that. But if you then eat the remainder of the fruit, you say Borei Pri Ha'etz for eating that, and you do say Borei Nefashos if you've had enough kazait within 4 minutes. One last point about this. And that is, actually 2 last points, very quickly, 2 last points. All that we said now, that the final decision, psak for sucking any fruit would be shehakol, that's only true for all fruits besides grapes. Grapes, when you do it that way, that you cut a grape in half and you hold it close to your mouth and only suck on the grape to get out the juice, true, we don't consider it as if you were eating the grape, because we said before that we go by the poskim who hold that it's drinking, not eating. But unlike all other fruits that we say shehakol, by a grape, sucking on it close to our mouth, you may have thought that you should be saying Borei Pri Hagafen, because you're getting out only the juice of the grape, and for grape juice, we should be saying Borei Pri Hagafen. But that's not true. We do not say Borei Pri Hagafen in this case, because after all, grape juice, to have its importance, to be able to say Borei Pri Hagafen, has to be that it's in a cup. that it's an important beverage, that we see it, that it's in front of us, and then we consume it. That's Borei Pri Hagafen. If we're sucking on a grape, it doesn't get that importance that we normally consider grape juice. So we don't say Borei Pri Hagafen, but since the grape is an important fruit, more important than all other fruits, and since in general grape juice is more important than any other juice because they say Borei Pri Hagafen over it, so in this case we say Borei Pri Ha'etz. Sucking on a grape, unlike sucking on any other fruit, is not shehakol, and it's also not Borei Pri Hagafen, it's Borei Pri Ha'etz, which also leads to the understanding that since it's Borei Pri Ha'etz, it means that we consider this as if we were eating. And then, well, I believe so, actually. No, sorry. It doesn't go to that extent. It still remains the same definition, category as all other fruits that we consider drinking. That doesn't change. Yeah, I thought to myself, that doesn't make sense. The fact that the grape is more important than any other fruit, why does that change it into eating instead of drinking if we decided that that's considered a form of drinking? So it's a form of drinking even by a grape. We say Borei Pri Ha'etz only because grape and grape juice in general are more important than all other fruits and beverages. Therefore, we say we elevate it to a Borei Pri Ha'etz, but only as a drink. It's a very interesting situation. We're considering it a drink, yet we're saying Borei Pri Ha'etz. And now we need that measurement of Revit within 3 gulps. That will never happen. Sucking on a grape, we cannot get out 81 milliliters in 3 suckings. So we can only say Bracha Rishona and never say Bracha Achrona in such a situation. If we eat the remainder of the grape, in this case, we will not say Borei Pri Ha'etz over again because we've said Borei Pri Ha'etz while sucking. So to eat the remainder of the grape is still Borei Pri Ha'etz, so we don't say the bracha over again. We just eat it, and in the end, we may be able to say Ala Etz or Pri Ha'etz, because that's the after bracha if we eat kazait within 4 minutes of the remainder of the grape. One very, very last situation, and this will conclude for today. What happens if we're squeezing a fruit as we're holding our mouth upward, open upwards, and we're squeezing the fruit, allowing the juice to drip into our mouth? In this case, true, the fruit isn't in our mouth, but it's not even close to our mouth. We're squeezing it up, high up, and we're allowing the juice to drip into our mouth. Now, the juice is visible in the air as it's coming out of the fruit. This case is a definite case of like any other juice. What does it matter that we didn't squeeze it into a cup and drank it? Rather, we're squeezing it so it should fall into our mouth directly. It's still falling into our mouth as a juice. So therefore, it's going to be shehakol. And you would need revis within 3 gulps, which is again impossible. You can't squeeze so quickly that 3 gulps will take in 81 milliliters. So you would never say bracha achrona in such a case, only bracha rishona, and the bracha rishona would be shehakol. In this case, what would happen for doing so with a grape? If we squeeze a grape up in the air and we allow the grape juice to fall, to drip into our mouth, would that be Borei Pri Hagafen? If we now elevated the bracha, no, sorry, actually, we didn't elevate. We kept the bracha a short case of shehakol by all other fruits. Here there's no dispute because everyone holds that as it's coming out into the air, it's shehakol, like a juice that's in our cup. So do we consider it like a juice in our cup for grapes, that it should be Borei Pri Hagafen? Same as if we had squeezed it into a cup, it would have been grape juice and it would have been Borei Pri Hagafen. So would this now be elevated to Borei Pri Hagafen and not Borei Pri Ha'etz like we said when we sucked the grape? The answer is, this is in the footnote of the book. The answer is משחת באוויר, וירד לתוך פיו לא גרעינים, ברכתו הגפן. Yes. The answer is that it becomes very gafen. Since it came out into the air, visible as juice, so it's considered grape juice. Same as all other fruits are considered a juice according to all opinions in such a case. So the same is true for grapes. But for grapes, grape juice is Borei Pri Hagafen. That's why we would say Borei Pri Hagafen in this case. Okay. Yeah. So just I'll add Tova's last comment. I think we need to work on our manners. Yeah, that's also true. I wouldn't do such things in front of others, but sometimes kids do things like this, having fun. And sometimes when you're all alone, you don't mind sucking on something. Sometimes it's enjoyable, whatever, but I get the point. Yeah, be aware of who's seeing you and who's looking at you as you do these things. Okay, so that's it for now. So as we see, just this case of squeezing juice out of fruit has three different situations. One in our mouth, Borei Pri Ha'etz. One close to our mouth, very close, that is shehakol, or by grapes only, Borei Pri Ha'etz. And one is when we squeeze it up high and allow it to drip into our mouth, that is like any other juice. So for all other fruits, shehakol. For grapes, Borei Pri Hagafen. And intertwined with all this, in some cases we consider it eating, in some cases drinking, and then it depends on that as to how much of the amount and timing do we need in order to be able to say bracha achrona. So as we see, just this tiny situation of sucking out juice or squeezing out juice from a fruit has so many different varieties and details to it. But that's the beauty of Hilchos Brachos, that when we do it right, then we're blessing Hashem properly. We're not saying bracha v'tala chas v'chalila. We say the wrong bracha. Many times it's a bracha v'tala. We have to repeat ourselves, and that's very terrible. Besides, we're recognizing and appreciating what Hashem does for us in the most proper manner. Okay, so have a great day, a good week, healthy. B'ezrat Hashem, we hope to see each other face to face as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Amen. Thank you very much.
Gladly.
Thank you very much, Rav Steinberg.
Okay,
Thank you.
gladly.
Thank you.
Okay,
Have a
thank
good
you.
week.
Good day.
Shavuot tov. Okay.